It's that time, folks. It's your board game dessert time. It's time for Game Pie. Game Pie is when Mandy and I serve up a selection of games curated by our whims and our excellent taste because we hate ranking things, but we do love a wonderful baked good. And so we stuff a game pie full of our choices. And the game pie of today was a listener suggestion. So thank you so much for that. Here we have games that teach or using games as for teachable moments and learning experiences, which a phenomenal topic and quite frankly one that I suspect Mandy and I could spend a lot more time than a game pie. So let's assume this is like an amuse bouche of pie for games within this topic because I think that this was just a phenomenal suggestion. So
Yeah.
Mandy, as a teacher, right? A former like teacher of students,
Yeah.
children, and now a teacher of adults, assume you will have some excellent selections in here.
Oh, great. No pressure.
Pressure.
All right. So, the first slice of my games that teach or using games as teachable moments game pie is Outnumbered Improbable Heroes. As someone who was never a huge fan of math, let me be clear, math is an important subject, and I just wish I were better at it. But I thought Outnumbered Improbable Heroes, I think this is Genius Games, and I did a stream of this one solo, actually. It's cooperative, and it teaches you about math. And it's not, wild math here. It's just your basics, how to, when you're doing the square root of, or, you're using multiplication, subtraction, addition. So it's teaching you the basics, but I think that's really great. And it's something that kids or children can play alone if they wanted to. So you don't necessarily need to have a group to play with, and it makes it fun. And that's what we want to do, fun. So in this particular game, math is the subject, but we're doing it by taking out some baddies with our superhero powers and our math skills. So Outnumbered Improbable Heroes.
Excellent. First up for me is Arc Nova, very popular, primarily card game. Arc Nova is largely about conservation and wildlife conservation. And so while you are managing different actions, if you really look at the cards and what they're doing, or if you look at the actions about gaining knowledge and about researching and about the different staff members and researchers and the different types of animals and the habitats that they live in, all of that is based in reality. And it you can play Arc Nova for the great game it is, but you can also, as you're playing Arc Nova, really take a look at the contents and the work that went into making the contents relevant and valuable from a conservation point of view from a teaching perspective. So Arc Nova.
Arc Nova. Yeah, that's a good one. So, and a very strong choice. My next slice of pie, well, this should be an interesting one, everybody, and that is Puerto Rico. This is a good one in that it's a teachable moment. I have my own challenges with the game in itself, but there's a reason why I'm saying it's one that you can use as a teachable moment. So it's a Euro game, and it's talking about overseas trading, but it's set in the age of colonization. Okay, so this is an example of how you cannot take something as so serious and important in history and try to make it in a game that does not accurately represent it at all, and potentially even had some offensive moments in the game. So this is a good way of saying, hey, this is what happened. This is how this is being represented. And let's be clear, some of it's a reflection on, won't go too deep into this, of what's kind of happening in today's age, but you can kind of use this as to say, how is this not representing this particular moment in history properly? And this is kind of why I chose this in that type of teachable moment. So this is not a representation of this is amazing, this demonstrates it very well. This is kind of a takeaway of this could have been done better. How could we have done that better? How can we recognize and appreciate these things that have happened during this period? So Puerto Rico's kind of like a I don't know, reverse Uno on this whole topic, but it is still a teachable moment, and it's important to know these things, what's right, what's wrong, and how we can do things better. So Puerto Rico is my second slice of pie.
And for me, I'm very much in that same vein. And I am not trying to cheat here, but I am going to bring up Great Western Trail, Mombasa, Maracaibo, and Santa Maria, all in the same bucket, because similar to what Mandi just outlined with Puerto Rico, these are games that are set in real life historic moments in real life locations around the world that either erase or misrepresent the native populations of those areas. And I think that while the games mechanically themselves are largely praised, and they are games
Sure.
from a mechanical point of view, quite frankly, I enjoy for the most part. Well, there's one in there that I don't love, but again, from a teachable moments point of view, I think that there is a lot of value in being able to say, hey, I like this game. It's a lot of fun. Oh, by the way, the native population weren't all smiling Indians at that time.
Right.
Or, oh, by the way, this Great Western Trail exists because of this thing that happened to the native population. Didn't just happen, that we enforced upon this people. And that's been completely obfuscated and masked by the game and the rules and the setting, and even in the rule book and how it's discussed,
Yep.
even sometimes the labels used on the populations themselves. Again, uh, that's not a judgment on whether or not you like the game,
No.
but I think it is important and valuable in recognizing the true picture of the moments, the times, the settings that these games are placed in. It's not meant to denigrate your enjoyment. It's meant to make it richer and make sure that you understand the game at a deeper level.
Absolutely. And I probably should mention too, Puerto Rico has had several iterations by this point. I know there were some trying to correct and so forth. I was particularly speaking about the initial one. I have not seen much of the most recent version. I did
Yeah,
some work.
people might want to search that one up a little bit. There was a little bit of
Right. So
drama
this is
around that,
why I'm
but well,
saying
that's for a different
yeah,
show.
I'm speaking about the original one. If you want to know more about the others, please, I implore you to do some research on that as well. My next slice of pie is actually, I did a video on this one with BGG. I think they were doing like a Hall of Fame or something with some games, and that is Carcassonne. So there's a reason why Carcassonne is there. And I like this one because it's really simple. I like the fact that it does in fact teach you about cooperation. And you're like, well, wait a second. It's not a cooperative game, but it is. Because in order for you to build, some of your cities or areas, you need someone else to kind of help you build it as well. So this is where it's like you have to, gosh, this is sounding really familiar right now, but just go with me here. Keep those relations open to, your neighbors. Be friendly because you have to work together in order to finish off those cities and areas that you're building. So, I like the cooperation aspect, and it's not necessarily a cooperative game, but hey, you find yourself in situations where you potentially have to throw in some cooperation to get, what you need at the end. So, keeping relations healthy and happy, of course. So that's Carcassonne.
I love it. Next up for me is Sky Mine. I'm cheating again, kind of a little bit, because I got two in here: Sky Mines and Salt Fjord. Why Sky Mines and Salt Fjord? Well, just like the games I just mentioned previously, Mombasa and Santa Maria. Sky Mines is a retranslation, a re-theme of Mombasa, and Salt
Mhm.
Fjord is a re-theme of Santa Maria. They took the core of the game, the mechanisms, and they applied a completely different theme, thereby removing some of the more problematic cultural elements, but keeping all the gameplay interactions. Now, there are pros and cons to that. There are reasons why you might like Mombasa more than Sky Mines or vice versa, similar to Santa Maria and Salt Fjord. But I wanted to highlight these as games that demonstrate, again, with those teachable moments, that sometimes the games that we love from a rules and a rhythm point of view
Yeah.
don't need to have some of the elements that they have in them, and that there are other alternative ways to do it. Now, is this a better way? I'm actually not going to suggest that, but I think it is worth calling out in our teachable moments game pie that these games exist.
Absolutely. Yep. Very good. Very good explanation. Well, my last slice of pie is kind of a catch-all here because I didn't really want to pinpoint just one, but tabletop
Okay,
role.
good. You're cheating.
I
I
am.
cheated, so I'm glad you're
It's a
cheating
little
a little
cheat.
too.
It's a little cheat. tabletop role-playing games. And the reason why this came up is because I'm actually creating some content right now at work, and I'm using role-playing game elements in it to kind of convey some of the information to the participants. So I find that there are a lot of moments in RPGs or things that you can use for role playing. I mean, that is the title of the thing of the, of the game, but it's something that you can use to present scenarios, creating a narrative and then creating characters to play in said narrative. Because yes, at the end of the day, like for example, you're a person, but when you go to work, maybe you're a manager. That's a role, right? And so how are you going to develop that role, grow that role, instead of gaining weapons, gaining skills, you know what I mean? To either upgrade those skills, gain new skills. And these are all things that I can like add to in this particular training that I'm working on. Instead of weapons and things like that, I'm using skills. So I can liken it to that. So I do find RPGs are something that I use quite a bit in a lot of my content creation, and I'm a big proponent of gamification in the classroom. So I find this one is a little bit easier to get into, especially for adult learning. So TTRPGs, tabletop role-playing games.
Excellent. I love that you brought that up. Okay. All right. My last slice of pie, I have never played. And so I'm just calling that out. But I was at a recent game convention, and this was being played at the table next to me. And I kept on getting distracted from my game because of the conversations that were happening that could have been literally ripped from the headlines.
Yeah.
So this is Hegemony, Lead Your Class to Victory.
This is a good game.
And Mandi has played it. So it is an asymmetric political, economic, Euro-style game. I'm just going to read part of the description to you. The nation is in a disarray and a war is waging between the classes. The working class faces a dismantled welfare system. The capitalists are losing their hard-earned profits. The middle class is gradually fading, and the state is sinking into a deep deficit. Amid all the chaos, the only person who can provide guidance is you. So, Mandi, you've played Hegemony. I from just overhearing, now this is a massive game. They took them hours and hours and hours on play, and the conversations were absolutely fascinating as they were talking about taxes and tariffs and, I can't, pay you more, and then, threatening strikes and how that power worked. It was absolutely fascinating and something that literally would cause you to think and learn and research more. And Mandi, from your personal experience, it seems like you would echo that.
Oh, absolutely. Now, obviously, I wish it was kind of geared towards more of a Canadian politics, but the general sense of what they're trying to do, 100% relevant and important. And I really enjoyed actually playing this with the different roles. It's exactly what you're saying.
So there you go. For a little light gameplay. Now, I think, teaching or teaching moments can be very different things. And
Sure.
Mandi has, as a teacher, has spoken at length about games. There's a game called Holotype that's all about dinosaurs that uses the real scientific basis and research and all that. Like, there's tons of great games there. I think that this was a wonderful game pie suggestion. Thank you so much for that. Mandi, let's talk about how we can expand this topic in the future. I think
Yeah.
that would be really, really cool to do. So thank you for suggesting this topic. Hey-oh, it works, y'all. When you make suggestions, we can pull them into the show. If you have suggestions, if you have comments, if you have questions about any of the games that we have played, you are welcome to reach out and contact us. You can email us at saltandsassgames@gmail.com, or you can chime in on the Board Game Geek Guild on boardgamegeek.com. That's Guild 4131. I did catch us up on episodes, so thank you everybody for your patience on that. I was way behind. We're all caught up now. So chime in there as well, or you can always reach out to us on the socials.
Yes, the socials. You potentially could be watching this right now on the YouTube, but we also stream on the Twitch. So you can find us at YouTube, Twitch, at Salt and Sass Games. That's Salt and Sass Games. You can also find us on Blue Sky at Salt and Sass. So Salt and Sass. You can find me on Blue Sky, Instagram, all the things at 613 Mandi. That's Mandi with an I. How about you, Suzanne?
And you can find me on social on Blue Sky. I am at 425 Suzanne. Heyo, in 2 weeks, we'll be back. Until then, take care of yourselves, take care of your loved ones, stay hydrated, and play a lot of games.
Bye, everyone.